All right. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Looks like we're live.
This is Willow,
This is not Gollum.
and we're here casting Apex versus TBDi.
It looks like at the moment we're still waiting for a few other players to join the lobby, but that's good. We can have a chance to talk about the teams a little bit before the match starts.
Absolutely.
It looks like, in general, Apex is probably favored to win overall here. That's at least my take. They have been playing in the Dasher tier for quite a while, and just recently got knocked down into Sprinter in this most recent cycle before this.
Yeah, I believe their second time in Sprinter, or at the very least, second time out of Dasher tier. They got dropped out of Dasher tier after the first cycle, and have been in Dasher ever since, and now just dropped down, actually pretty similar to Loop, just dropped down to Sprinter in the top two. And we can actually see that here in the Sprinter leaderboards. If we pull it up, we got Loop, Apex, Hotu, HHI, Life, Blitz, Nano, and TBDi. So number 2 Sprinter team versus number 8 Sprinter team. Apex with 5 wins and 5 losses. TBDi with 3 wins and 7 losses, even though their MMR is actually pretty similar, only about 200 off.
Yeah, TBDi, still a team nothing to scoff at. However, you do have to keep in mind the experience that comes with playing Dasher tier teams consistently. As opposed to playing Sprinter tier teams, it is a considerable difference, and definitely going to come into play here. I'm sure TBDi is going to be putting their best foot forward, trying to do as well as they can. It looks like the first map here is going to be Launchpad payload. It seems like Apex has a strong preference for this map, and follow-up for Domination is going to be Quarry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The 2 off maps for sure. We generally see Canyon and Waterway, especially Waterway. Just real quick before we go into the team standings, I think it's good to mention that I believe we still have a Quest 2 giveaway going on that you can find in the description, where you just click on those little +2s. Every single one you get, you get essentially 2 tickets to win towards getting a free Quest 2. Really cool giveaway, and you get basically the best VR equipment that you can. I know basically our entire team runs on Quest 2s. A lot of teams run on Quest 2s, even some of the best teams. I think D uses some Quest 2s as well. So, you know, these things are amazing. You can play a bunch of VR games with them. You can get them totally for free just by doing all this stuff. Yeah, so let's go into the standings a little bit. Let's talk about Apex, I guess.
Apex. So, like I was saying, certainly a Dasher tier team. They've proven it time and time again in all the games they've played. Even the losses they've had in the past have been against very, very high skill teams alone. They've had a recent string of losses against Other, The, and Onyx, but before that, I believe their only other loss was against D, which in general seems to be one of the most high-skilled teams here. It looks like they also played Team Name in the past. Just a lot of high-skilled teams that they've been playing consistently in the past throughout this league. They've also won games against Hotu, Bruh, Loop, us.
Yeah.
It looks like also UNSC. Still some pretty high-skilled teams.
Totally. I'm honestly a little surprised that they lost against Onyx. That was a game that I ended up missing. You know, it just shows how good Onyx is getting. But we're not talking about Onyx. Let's move over to TBDi.
TBDi, it seems like they've been pretty solidly a Sprinter tier team for most of this league. I haven't exactly tracked if they've moved between Sprinter and Walker, but they seem to have settled in here. They've had games against Nano, Acme, Life, Dark recently. All a string of losses, but if we go ahead and check out the scoreboards for some of those games, such as against Acme, one of their more recent ones.
There we go. Acme with 2 wins, TBDi with 1 win, taking it to a control point. So Acme just barely taking that control point.
And we can see that their Launchpad game of TBDi versus Acme was actually quite close.
Oh man, yeah.
So we can hopefully expect some good things out of TBDi on this Launchpad map here.
Yeah, I would, you know, it seems like if I had to wager a guess, TBDi chose Launchpad and Apex chose Quarry, because Apex you know, it definitely has some good quarry strats. I mean, I think they have good strats for every game, but the fact that TBDi was less than 1% away from beating Acme on Launchpad.
Or no, it looks like they actually did win.
Acme was less than 1% away from taking TBDi. So there you go. Then yeah, definitely favored towards Apex. But I would love to see TBDi take a map off of them. I think that'd make this very interesting.
If I'm going to be honest, it's going to be a tough fight no matter which map they play, but it seems like Launchpad will probably be their best bet here. Quarry, for most teams, at least in my experience, seems to be a bit of an off map, but from what I know, Apex has been practicing this recently, and TBDi might have been doing that as well, so a little bit more of an unsure toss-up about how Quarry is going to run. But here we go. We're going to get started with our first map, Launchpad. We've got
Absolutely.
Apex on blue on offense, TBDi red defense. They're going to be setting up here. This is going to be a very crucial moment, how this opening works, how it shakes out. If Apex is able to get a full team wipe here, it's possible they could ride that momentum almost to the finish. If TBDi is not able to set up afterwards. But if TBDi is able to cause Apex to trickle a little bit, get a little bit of a hold, stop the card a few times, even in this first zone where Apex has a big spawn advantage, they could have a decent chance.
Absolutely. Looks like one of TBDi is down, but TBDi is... Oh man, Monkey getting a double with those shocks. TBDi is doing a really good start here.
They have a very solid hold of the house.
Definitely I'm surprised, you know, with such killers like F2P and Dolphy, you kind of expect TBDi to have a lot of losses in the beginning, but only losing one person, you know, for the first almost full 30 seconds, that's very impressive.
Apex, of course, still moving that cart forward despite that. They've really pushed up into TBDi's spawn. It looks like they're going to try and expect to hold them back, not even let them get remotely close to approaching the cart. So it seems like a few members of TBDi have been able to sneak around. That split focus there caused them to be able to get a kill on FPP.
Rounding the first corner to get down the hill after a full minute, you know, while Apex is definitely still making great time, it shows that TBDi is actually stopping that card a few times. They're not running flawlessly, and that's good to see.
Alright, Reaper pushing up, getting a kill, very nice. Low on health, they're going to try and hold this area as long as they can, or they push back to the cart. There we go.
Very good. It's very good to know when to be cart focused. A lot of teams definitely struggle with knowing when to transition to cart. If the cart is down, then it needs to be moving.
Yeah, ultimately, anyone should at least potentially be a cart person.
Absolutely.
Be ready to hop right on, because that's the thing that matters more than anything else, more than kills, more than holding an area. If the cart's not moving, you're not winning.
So it looks like Apex making it to the bottom of the hill with 4 minutes and 12 seconds. So they're about 12 seconds ahead of schedule. You want to be at the bottom of the hill about 4 minutes. But, you know, still making great time. Cart's finally gotten down.
Heist really going crazy with the rockets here. Apex is seemingly having difficulties approaching the cart, staying there. They get one more kill there.
Wow,
Good job,
Heist going
Heist. We'll
off.
see if they can get a third one.
Not quite
Not
taken out
quite.
by Reaper. Reaper getting multiple kills here.
Good job on that clear. Apex able to push forward a little bit. It seems like they hopped off the cart a few times, but are now starting to get a hold figured out. TBDi has been very good about sneaking behind and getting around that cart and around whatever defense Apex has set up. And
Ooh.
Heist especially.
Heist killing himself with those rockets, though.
Yeah. That's a difficult thing to try and figure out for many Rocketeers is when you need to hold on to rockets versus when you need to just go ahead and get that kill, sometimes at the cost of your own life. If the rest of your teammates are able to hold the cart without you, then getting a team wipe can actually be huge. You'd be able to
Absolutely.
easily recover from that. Looks like that's what TBDi was able to do here.
Heist getting some good rockets from the back lines. Going back for health. Ooh, gets taken out. Yeah. It's very difficult to know when you should get health or just kind of focus the cart anyway, even though you're low. You know, if that cart's moving, then you need it down. It doesn't matter if you're alive or dead.
Looks like Apex just about reaching underneath this checkpoint. They need to get the cart all the way through in order to actually reset the timer and begin moving forward to the next spawn area.
There's a checkpoint.
There you go.
With 1 minute and 30 seconds, it's pretty good time. Definitely not the fastest time we've seen, but wow, that is very impressive.
It's still a clear sign of Apex's dominance here. It looks like Dubas is going to try and disrupt behind the cart. Taking a little bit of time getting the right loadout, it seems.
Oh,
and getting
man.
a dash.
You know, Dubas being this far walking around. Oh, two of them are all the way back here, not stopping cart. That means that their team essentially is doing a 3v5, completely abandoning their team for, you know, possibly stopping the cart here a second, going all the way back again. I mean, they're really killing some time.
It's definitely a risky move. If they're able to make it worthwhile, stop the cart 3-4 times, then that might make up for all the time they took getting the right loadout. But Apex is pretty solidly in this first zone here.
Oh man, all that time behind, he didn't even stop the cart once.
That's unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate. That was definitely not the best play we could have seen. Although Garbage Man does get distracted, hops off cart for a second.
It looks like Apex has cruised through this first zone here. They're about to turn the corner and start heading up the hill. It's going to be very important for TBDi to get a hold on this little open area that's way in front of the cart here with the shock bridge and access to the what's most teams call the triangle room that has a dash. Apex is just cruising forward though. It seems like they're able to have a decent hold in front of the cart and not let TBDi get behind like they were able to do for this first checkpoint.
Absolutely.
Garbage Man playing it pretty safe.
Yeah, you know, I'm really wondering, like, if hopping off cart like that, you know, is making it worthwhile. If they're out killing the enemy so much, you know, every little second like that can help.
It might be worth it to take slightly riskier moves. If Gold Memba is able to clear 3 people off the cart like that, though, then it really makes up for all the distance they've been pushing for a lot of this time.
Gold Memba slaying out, making sure that cart's not moving at all.
If Gold Memba keeps killing people like this, and I love saying that name, keeps killing Apex like this, along with the rest of TBDi, then they have a decent chance of making up some time here, of getting a good hold. They just have to make sure they have crossing sight lines throughout this whole zone.
Wow, this is really great. Getting some disruption by that Gold Memba. Oh, might be punished for it. No! Takes out F2P with a very impressive headshot.
Good clear. Gold Memba's on a roll right now.
And even if he's not getting kills, you have to think he's distracting the enemy.
Looks like one member of Apex was able to briefly sneak through. Now we've got Dolphy on the cart. TBDi no longer has a solid hold of this zone here. Apex trying to regain some ground. Looks like they got it.
Oop, Dolphy taking out an enemy, stealing the dash, going back to cart. It's a good little rotation you got going, one on cart, although, you know, not many protecting the cart that's in front of it. And the cart's down again, even though there's so many Apex alive. Apex definitely, or TBDi is very good at getting Apex to rush off of that cart for, you know, even just a few seconds.
Definitely, a lot of these moves aren't inherently bad or don't make sense, like hopping up the cart to get a kill or moving all the way behind the cart to get the right loadout, but it's a lot of the little things that can build up over time that can give your enemy a lot of distance, a lot of ground covered that you wouldn't, or that they wouldn't have gotten anyway if you'd been around the cart to stop them, or that you would have gotten if you were on the cart the entire time, instead of popping off and getting kills.
You know, that said, it seems like Apex can afford the luxury of it, though, because they are already at 84%, near the coveted 86%, where it becomes the hardest push in the game, and they have 4.5 minutes left, which, I mean, usually you would see, what, 2 minutes? I mean, they're killing it right now.
Yeah. And even with the 2 minutes, you're not expected to make it to 100%, but if any matchup this cycle has a chance, Apex definitely should be able to make it to 100%. It just is a matter of how long they're able to hold TBDi off, moving one member onto the cart at a time and keeping that cart steadily chugging along. So far they've been able to do. TBDi keeps trying to hop around the cart, but keeps getting killed just before they get a sightline on Garbage Man.
Oh, a good little tuck there by Epoch. Ultimately, the cart gets down, but man, they pushed it over 10% in that little amount of time. That was very impressive.
That was a very solid push by Apex. Now, that TBDi is set up, this is really where it should become difficult for Apex to move forward. They're going to need a full group up just to be able to move the cart 1 or 2% at a time. Unless they're able to get a very professional clear like they did earlier. Seems like they're setting up for that.
Oh, waiting for that group up. Seems like they're just pushing anyway. Oh, getting some good headshots. Wow. I love Reaper's little dance that he does. Apex seeming to be very good about putting one on cart and then others on sightlines to watch over the cart, hopping on when he dies. Definitely a good strategy. I think definitely not a new one, but effective here. They're getting rockets up, even though TBDi has no one on cart. I'm really wondering if those rockets are going to do much.
Well,
oh, there you go.
Obviously, they got one kill there at least, so they're doing something.
Oh.
Another kill there. That's 2 down for TBDi, maybe even more.
Wow, Dubas super pushed up, still able to get a sightline on that cart. That's pretty impressive. Now his position, he can't stop cart anymore. He's going to be out of position. He had a lucky little shot there, but can't keep it for long.
Alright, looks like Apex keeps getting some micro pushes here, but they're moving in one at a time, hard trickling. TBDi able to get multiple sightlines on single members of Apex at a time and able to secure kills, even though I'd say Apex is pretty solidly outskilling them, now killing them.
Oh, sounds like someone's got an SMG. Reaper gets taken out, but look at that. 2% pushed right there. You know, I think Apex is just relying on outkilling TBDi and getting these 1% pushes. They don't even really need to group up. As long as they can push it a little bit, get a couple kills, and everyone does that.
Yeah, so far it seems to be working. We've got 2 minutes left and only 1% to go, even less than that, really. Looks like Apex is going to go in for one more push. I think whoever's on shields on Apex has a shock of some sort. And pushing the cart. Got stopped. There we go. Round end.
100% at a minute 50. That's hard to deny that is some good domination. Really, TBDi is going to have a really good offense to even make it close to that 100%.
Though at the very least, I expect TBDi to have a good Zone 1 here based on how it was last time. When they were on red, they seem to do very well compared to most other teams in more even matchups. They had some good explosive use here. As long as they're able to keep the cart moving consistently and get a full clear on that house, that's going to be a large safe zone for TBDi to move forward through. Not quite able to get the kill on F2P there.
Oh, F2P with the shotguns gets one kill, gets taken out. Someone keeping over on the health pack. Goldmember back with the gold pistols. I love that name. Very pushed up, not watching cart. Very interesting positioning that TBDi is taking here.
It looks like 1 or 2 members of Apex. Now the rest of the team has pushed back up to this first zone and is getting clears with explosives of different sorts.
Yeah, not great for TBDi that Apex has just been able to roll right back up and continue what can happen.
Although, no, it looks like the cart is still being stopped, even though Heist is pushing forward, trying to get some disruption to keep Apex from reaching the cart.
Epoch frustrated at disruptors, I suppose.
Moving up into shield room, it looks like they're going to try and stop the cart again. Good kill from Heist.
Yeah, team captain of TBDi. I think Dubas was the other captain?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
So both captains in the game. I know Garbage Man and Epoch are the captains of Apex, so we're seeing some captain battles going on. Cart gets stopped again. Wow, I mean, this is, the cart has been stopped a lot more by Apex than it was by TBDi.
And to be fair, TBDi has been pretty good about getting a member on cart whenever they get cleared. It's just that pretty much every time one person dies on cart, the next hops on and then immediately dies on cart. The next hops and gets killed.
Yeah, they really need to get Apex out of their base, and then they super need to get those rockets out. Very interesting, F2P has those rockets. F2P, one of the team's biggest killers. Rocket and Shield, I mean, I love to see it. Definitely a salute the strategy of Rocket and Shield.
Or even just shields in general. It seems like more and more it's starting to get used for those high-value targets such as Rocketeers to defend themselves and make sure they can't get instantly killed by 2 charge shots.
Ooh, gets 2 kills on cart. Dubas getting 2 kills right there.
Kill by Dubas.
More rockets. I mean, if I was TBDi, I would be extremely frustrated at the amount of rockets that you have up. I know when one team can just greatly outskill the other in terms of kills alone, they tend to pick up a lot of rockets because that just stops the cart from moving. Bottom of the hill at 3:30. I mean, they're not even fully at the bottom yet, and they're, what, over 45 seconds behind where Apex was right now?
This is looking more and more difficult as the seconds count on. Apex is a very solid hold here. It doesn't seem like Garbage Man has gotten any kills because I don't think TBDi has even been able to approach cart thus far. They've been trying to get a team clear on Apex.
Yeah, definitely TBDi. I think probably in the comms we're getting frustrated saying, look, this isn't working. We got to get these kills and then we can push this cart. But it looks like they're just getting kills and the cart isn't moving at all for it. So I think that was a kind of a bad call, personally.
They're able to get 1 or 2 kills on Apex at a time. But they're not able to get the full team wipe that they absolutely need. If they can't take out every single Rocketeer, which the further the game goes on, the more that Apex is going to have, they're really not going to be able to move that cart very far.
Oh, actually taking out both Rocketeers right here, and TBDi getting a good little push. Dolphy behind the cart, though. Man, TBDi
almost
just gets
had
no
the
breaks.
team wipe they needed. There's just one left.
And Dolphy, another one of Apex's biggest
Good
killers.
long-range shooting out of Goldmemba, though.
Yeah, Goldmemba really killing it. Going 31 and 39. I believe the top... No, high is actually 34 and 39. Top killer over at TBDi. Over on Apex, we got Dolphy going, wow, 57 and 28. And then FTP 41, 33. That's really impressive.
Apex still disrupting a lot in this zone here. A lot of explosives, as you'd expect, as you mentioned, Willow. Looks like occasionally TBDi tries to make it through shield room, but now they're moving through the back alley. They're going to try and get all the way behind. Hopefully they can pull some members of Apex away from the carton by doing this. But then Goldmemba got killed, wasn't able to make that disruption as effective as they'd like.
That was a good flank by Dubas, though, with the staples, too, which, you know, are really good guns that are not used very often in league matches.
Time and time again, TBDi is so close to being able to solidly push this cart like they did just now. But then Apex just is able to get that last kill they need in order to make sure they can't continue to move forward. Looks like we got Garbage Man way safe in the back here. Does Apex at this point have 3 different explosives users? Garbage Man, F2P, maybe Reaper also? It's hard to tell. We've only got 1 minute left. TBDi isn't quite even underneath the SMG bridge, although this is a good push by, that was Monkey there.
I mean, yeah, TBDi is going to need some serious miracle to help them make it to checkpoint from here. I believe checkpoint's at 38, 39%, something like that, and they're at 27, so they're almost a full Garbage Man accidentally picking up his shield. They're a full 10% behind where they need to be, and with 30 seconds left, I mean, ooh, not looking good.
Seems like Apex, aww,
G-Man killing
hate
himself.
to see it, hate to see it. Sometimes that's a server issue, sometimes that's just an awareness issue, backing up off a ledge just when you're trying to get a trick shot. Doesn't always work out. We've got Reaper
10 seconds left.
stationed
Reaper
on the cart.
Yep.
You see?
Ooh. Yeah,
Another
lots
clear.
of Apex looking at the cart.
See
What
if
you like to
TBDi is
see.
able to get a final push.
We got 2, 3 Apex down. Barely got overtime. FTP with the shield on cart. Oh, and that might be it. That's it.
There we go.
Wow.
Still a nice job by TBDi against such a tough team like Apex.
Absolutely. Did you notice that the time at the top actually goes up when they make overtime? I never noticed that.
Yeah, it resets to 3 seconds each time, I think.
I believe it gets longer each time. I'm not sure. Let's look at the scores here. Let's see. Hold on.
Dolphy with 69 kills, nice.
Yep.
33 deaths. F2P, second highest killer and scorer on Apex with 49 kills, 37 deaths. Over on TBDi, a lot more of an even spread, all in the 30s. Monkey, not the highest killer on their team, but the highest scorer. It seems like they were able to get onto the cart a lot. Maybe even get some kills off the cart when Apex was pushing. Good to see.
Absolutely. So I do believe we're going to be doing a
Quarry map next.
quarry map, but I think we're also doing a server change, although they're doing some talking. Might be, yep, looks like we're...
There we go.
So here we go.
We'll be making our way over there. So that first map, also important to consider because fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you ask, the servers do play a somewhat important role in determining who might win or lose a match. It's definitely far from everything, far from the most important thing. Skill, coordination, big parts of this, but lag is a factor you have to consider in online matches like this. The first map was on Amsterdam. I wonder whether that was Apex's choice or TBDi's preference. This next map, Quarry, is going to be on Dallas, and the tiebreaker, if we make it that far, is also going to be on Dallas. So at this point, we're going to be staying in the same server here. It's going to be more US-based. Maybe this is going to be a little bit more balanced, or possibly in TBDi's favor, not sure. We'll find out.
Oh, did the game... Uh-oh.
It seems like one of our instances of the game might have crashed, so we'll get that figured out soon.
Uh-oh.
The game hasn't started yet, though, so luckily we're not really missing anything quite yet.
Yeah.
I think both teams still have to do a little bit of conversation.
Let's see.
Making our way back in, typing fast, moving drones.
Looks
back
like
now.
we're gonna have to restart that one. Alright.
That's too bad. Well, if need be, we can just keep the POV open. We just won't have a mini-map for a few moments here.
Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about standings?
Sure.
Anything like that?
So as we saw in this game, Apex, their strat in general seems to be based around a lot of explosives when they're able to get it out of Garbage Man and F2P and whoever else they have in there. But also really building a lot of their holds around their two top killers, F2P and Dolphy. Killing isn't everything in the game. There's a lot that goes into making sure a team strategy is effective, but it's very clear that Dolphy and F2P are the most skilled in being able to get clears and team wipes and holding zones together. If the rest of Apex is able to set up around those two, depend on those two to get the kills they need reliably, the rest of the team is able to follow up and make sure they can't get flanked or can set up rockets in long distances that are hard to hit. TBDi, as far as I could tell, they had good players. All of them played pretty solidly, but they didn't quite have any specific strat to that extent of like building around specific players' strengths or weaknesses. It seemed like Heist was pretty big on explosives, and they did very well with that. Goldmemba was very good at flanking, they did a lot of that. But they weren't quite as together throughout that map as Apex managed to be. We'll see if that's going to play out similarly in this domination map.
Yeah, Quarry's interesting because it's so large. You can bring in a lot more teamwork into Quarry. It's not just pure kills and deaths and all that fun stuff.
Like Waterway sometimes tends to be. Waterway's a lot closer distance, a lot more open. Quarry, often you end up having to play a lot more methodically. You can't get from one dash in your base into the enemy base's dash in one go. Here we go, let's get it started.
Match starts.
Apex starting on red,
3,
TBDi starting on blue.
2,
This opening is going to
1.
be very telling.
Go.
If one team's able to get
Red
a
takes
countdown
A.
and point very early on, it's likely they're going to have gotten that from a
First
team wipe and get a
elimination.
score. We'll see how Apex
Red
moves
team
forward here. We've got
scores
Dolphy
3
seemingly in the
to
back,
counter.
probably
Red team
going to be holding B
scores
while Apex
3,
gets
2,
a
1.
countdown
Red
and a
team
score. There we
wins
go.
this
That was a
round.
Wow.
very solid, very quick score out of Apex. They moved very methodically. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Go.
Good work by them. We'll see if TBDi is able to get a
Red
recovery
takes
here.
A.
If they're able to hold off this initial push, then it could be a lot more back and forth for a little bit, even if
Red
Apex ends
takes
up
B.
scoring again
First
later.
elimination.
Though it seems like so far this is going to be a repeat of the previous point.
I would be very impressed if they can get a second score here in 30 seconds. I mean, we got all five, okay, 4 TBDi up, so, you know, you hope that they can get it.
Red team.
Oh,
Apex scoring again,
man.
really showing their experience with this map, and TBDi showing that they probably need to play this a little bit more, build up a little bit more of a strategy, or maybe just try and play a little bit more cautiously when they're against a team as good as Apex is.
Red takes lead.
Absolutely. You know, yeah, you would like to see a little bit more of just something different from TBDi. Really anything, it seems. Because we don't really want a repeat of a couple games that we've seen this season that just last a couple minutes on. Domination, it's very easy for... Oh, man, Dolphy getting a lucky kill there, but it's very easy for Domination to be the kind of wipe map. I mean, even if you're the objectively better team on payload, it takes some time to win, but clearly not for Domination. That was a, what, 2-minute game?
That was domination, if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you know, that's convenient for us. I was telling G-Man, you know, we're on a bit of a time crunch. I was, you know, did not expect that much of a win, though. Let's look at the scores here. Oh my gosh. 4 and 3, G-Man, our top dasher. Oh no, 6-0 for F2P. Good for him. Just not clicking any buttons. We got Amos Fala, 2-3 on TBDi with highs in second, 1 and 3. Oh man.
And that's unfortunate. Usually, the domination is more likely to end a lot quicker, not just because you're not having to push a payload any distance, but just because if one team outright outskills the other, they're able to get a full team wipe and a button hold very quickly, especially when Apex was as organized and as solidly pushing forward as they were.
Absolutely. Castle, I think that might be a record. Oh, they're going to play a waterway for fun. This is not for any
Match starts in
any good.
Yeah, at this
so.
point, Apex has won the match.
1.
Good on Apex. Very proud of them. They did some crazy wins there.
And still a good launch pad for TBDi. Even though they lost solidly, they still played pretty well by all respects. It's just that Apex was the better team, more experienced. They've been playing against better teams for much longer than TBDi has.
Yeah, you know, I think this is just a show of, you know, both skill difference and coordination difference. TBDi definitely not too far off, just needs a little bit more work, you know, maybe next season we'll see them pull together. I know the off season is the biggest time they do some practices, but...
And it's also possible that, like, Quarry specifically is a map that TBDi has little to no experience on. I would not be surprised if the experience on the map itself was a big part in that. As we see here, even though it's not, like, for keeps, in this waterway map, TBDi hasn't been scored on immediately like they were
in 1 minute.
Quarry.
Yeah,
They're-
clearly TBDi
they're
has
actually
just not
holding-
played it much.
They're actually holding Apex back a little bit, so...
Yeah, before everyone drops off, be sure to hit a like if you can. It helps this channel out. We're trying to get a lot more non-league players to be watching these casts, so appreciate everyone coming out. Didn't get to see as much of the chat because it wasn't updating for some reason, but you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
You know, yeah. So thanks